It's SchezzWho time. Now to react live to the president's speech. And I'm going to bring on a couple of special guests. Haley Dollar running for Congress, Cherokee Simpson running for Senate, and Erica Kopp also running for Congress. And what I want to do, guys, I'm going to turn the volume up loud on the speech, and we're going to organically react to whatever the hell he's about to say.
At any moment, President Trump and his supporters say that these changes are common sense. They argue that Americans should have confidence that only eligible citizens are voting, and that voters who are who they say they are.
Over under on him mentioning Barack Obama
are secure. For those that are tuning in at the top of the hour, I'm Austin Westfall. We are awaiting the president to give remarks live from the White House. Remarks have not begun quite yet. We have the White House press pool feed, so we have the camera that we know that the remarks will eventually begin on. What we haven't quite got yet is the affirmative that the remarks are going to be beginning and that we can start taking those remarks live and uninterrupted. So it's possible at this point now that we might be looking at
9:02.
A slight delay. Usually these things do run on time.
Haven't they been late a couple times?
President. So his feed just popped up. Let's listen live.
Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster after the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women sports, crime ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore.
Really?
2 years ago, our country was dead. Now, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world.
He's been saying that
America is respected like we have never been respected before.
Yeah, respect.
We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week, it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline
at any time.
6 years.
At any time in history.
Just given out.
And why did it fall? What did it fall from?
We accepted
your inflation
the
from
best
the
in
month
6
before.
years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are
That's already been proven false, by the way.
Thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history.
That's not true.
For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nations policy, because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly.
Bro, you put a tariff.
Prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%.
Oh, him, all by himself.
TrumpRx.gov. This will ultimately reduce the cost of healthcare. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it.
Always hyping
himself. But the cost of healthcare is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs.
Oh my
And
God.
with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account
TrumpRx.gov.
to save for their future.
kidding me right
Billions
now?
and billions
Right.
of dollars
This
are
is
being
such a
invested,
farce.
put in by companies
This
and
is
individuals
so depressing.
to take
This is
care
their
of our
commander in
children
chief.
so that
This is
at
why
age
the major
18,
channels
they will
weren't going to
have
cover this.
potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start. in
Even my
life.
dog's upset about
So
it.
for that, go to trumpaccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States
Being
in
admitted.
the past 14 months. That is
He doesn't
zero.
even. The thing
Nobody
is, he
thought it
doesn't
was
come up with
possible.
new shit.
We had the
New
worst
stuff.
border
He's in the
in the
club.
history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the
Plummeting.
murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 100.
And what is so funny
years
is
ago.
under
We're making a record
Biden
investment in our
under the
armed
Biden
forces, and we
administration,
have
more
the
people were
strongest and
deported.
most powerful military
And that is what is
by
so
far
fascinating about all
anywhere
those
in the world.
claims.
I
Okay.
built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil.
So powerful.
Likewise,
Second time he
big
said
in
millions and
Iran,
millions.
and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections.
Here we go.
You have to trust your country,
Okay.
because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult,
Consider
but
this
virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard.
He just can't
Tonight, I'm
give it up,
announcing the
can he?
immediate
He just
declassification
can't
and
give
release
it
of
up.
critical intelligence, revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes, and really exposes like levels never thought possible, to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now.
Really?
The documents we will release starting tonight have
You
been
only took
gathered
so long
by
to
the
make
White
them up.
House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these
Confirmed.
documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov. Go check it out. Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone
Oh my
numbers,
God.
political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote
Our
and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare The intelligence even shows that China has signed a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that.
Nobody thought it was possible.
Millions of voters' data
He's done that about 3
in
times.
18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China.
Nope.
Stolen by
Yet
him?
those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country. A standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign.
Yeah, don't forget
They
you were
did
president.
not
then.
want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason.
We should have made a
As
bingo
the
card.
documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018,
Just use myself on the third
Chinese
person here
Communist
quick.
Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to
I wonder if
reduce
he's
the
going to
U.S.
use the phrase
president's
China
votes
virus.
and make him resign or prevent his reelection. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job. And they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the
Okay.
strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the president.
Wait, wasn't the
of
document by
United
his
States
staff?
of America.
Now he's saying CIA? Wait a
The
second.
Chinese government
Yeah,
sought to
CIA.
identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted
He's saying
me to
U.S.
lose
president
is
a lot.
because they knew I was wise to them.
Why?
Charged them billions
why?
and billions
Yeah,
of
like what?
dollars worth of tariffs and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These
Echo.
are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for
Sure.
Joe Biden.
Rogue.
Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was
It should
kept
be
out
every
that
day.
was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government,
Now it's a she.
unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who
Now the
witnessed
press is
such efforts
honorable?
perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be
Burned.
Before he even got into
different level
office,
by
when this
different
evidence
people
exists,
incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done on purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of the people that were supposed to burn the bags. But the findings are stunning. Today,
Okay.
I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems, dishonest, almost all.
He cannot get over it.
Vulnerable, and
He
they're
cannot get
easily
over losing
compromised,
and not getting the
people
capital on
within our
January
government
6th.
Casual reminder that
Tonight,
Fox
we're
had to pay
publishing a series of
$780 million
previously
because
classified
of
U.S.
lying about that.
intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our
No,
government
no.
has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judged that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most
Hear that?
vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use
Voter
this access to
registration
these
data.
systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight, we're releasing all of those findings, and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026. This is a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election
Yes.
results on
Ask
these
Elon Musk.
terrible machines. Today, we are
Absolutely.
releasing documents that show the
Yep.
CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela. And that's exactly what happened, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020. And that's what
All
they
this one
did.
coming.
This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence
How did you find it?
underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned. They couldn't believe it, actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names. submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist, and received gift cards tied to their number of applications that they produced.
Also,
In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat. The
Oh, like
FBI
he does with
agents
his
working
pardons.
on
Elon
the
Musk
case
is
believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes.
Yeah, Cash has his
Finally, to
eyes on
reveal
those.
just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security.
like I believe
According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records, they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections.
Oh,
Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that.
you were so full of shit.
This
Yes,
limited
he is.
analysis found more than a
This
quarter of a
man is
million foreigners illegally registered to vote.
joke. This man
Put
is a
together,
joke.
these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls. And yet
That's
we
been
still
that's
have
been- that's
elections
been
with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship,
that's
and
been
tens of
disproved.
millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail. As one example of the insanity,
mail,
California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew
This
what it was about
Anywhere good, y'all.
because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they know how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses. They use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, independent, or otherwise,
Or libertarian.
should be
Hillary.
able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, really, we should be together.
Secure
Democrats,
elections should be
Republicans,
partisan?
independents, everybody. And it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never
That's why
be
you see.
bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again.
by side of
Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing
talking
to
about
outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest. I've also ordered DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis of election security demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat because your policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic.
You need a mirror right here, right now.
Any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo.
Every time I have to listen
How
to
simple
this
is that?
human, it just
Could I have your photo, please? Photo, voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watch California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for
mine,
disability, military deployment,
Exactly.
or travel if you're going away on business or vacation.
You got to prove all that now.
To an island with a
needed to
rich
stop
friend.
the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay. Together, we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
He's staying in there. All right, guys. What are initial reactions?
For me, every time that I hear that man speak, I am ashamed to know that he is our commander-in-chief.
Twice.
And the amount of jargon and absolute and utter bull hockey that comes out of his mouth, I would feel in some way like the thing is that it's all intentional. So no matter how stupid we think it is, there is something going on behind every sentence, every single thing that that man says. And I think that we all knew that this was all about the SAVE Act. We all knew that. We all knew that. I mean, I didn't realize he was going to do that about China or even utilize the fact that he name dropped Obama again. He just loves Obama so much. I mean, I knew that this was where this was going to lead if this was what he was going to be talking about. And yeah, they want that pushed because that's going to be another step to controlling people, which is why they're trying to force the USPS to do what I just, every time I listen to that man, we have a massive task before us as a collective. And I really hope that people are ready for it. And I really hope that people understand what exactly it is that we're facing right now. And that human right there does not care about anyone else around him at all. And they are going to try to subjugate women. And they're going to try to put all of us back inside of little 1950s high heels and pinup dresses, or whatever. I just this has gone on for long enough.
Haley, what are your thoughts?
Somebody's ringing.
Sorry about that.
All good. So lots of thoughts. I think like Cherokee mentioned, like language is very, very important and being able to read between the lines. And, for me, none of this is news to me. When it comes to voter fraud and election and they talk about how systems are rigged, well, I got to watch it play out when we were stationed in Iraq year after year, where Iraqis really had the perception and belief that their vote mattered. It really fired them up when, with all due respect, we were really the ones running the show in the background. They had the perception of a choice. So, the idea that there's some form of collusion or corruption, that people are just cheating, what I can't stand about the message in itself, it's not even necessarily the person that it comes from, because I try to do my best to remove myself from certain situations, because it's really easy to just target one person and think that they are just the biggest and they're the one problem, but it extends so much further past one person giving a message. It is so many people that have the same mindset, and blaming one party in particular for bad legislation, blaming one person in particular. There's no one person that is just responsible for all of this. All of it is a mess. And I think that, is fair, are fair elections, should that be a priority? Of course. Do I think that we've had many issues in the past? Duh. It comes up every single year. Every single year since I can remember people voting when I was a child in the 90s. There's always been issues with voting machines. There's always issues with this and that. I mean, from one side of the fence, they want to cry and plead victim, but yet what have we been constructively doing about it? Do you mean to say that people in your camp haven't cheated? That they haven't tried to rig elections? That they haven't put candidates forward that they knew weren't of high quality? I mean, as recently as within the last 30 days, within our district, I watched a campaign manager and her candidate, a nominee, tried to stage a coup against two active chairwomen of the Republican Party. And yet they are still able to hold a title as nominee. They've caused multiple discourse within their own party. And yet these are the people that are being put forward. I don't want to hear that one side has bad candidates, that one side has bad practices, that one side is corrupt, when we know the mindset is if you're not cheating, you're not trying. And as early as yesterday in the 4th district, I watched this play out. I've seen this. It's not just something that we need to be watching. I mean, obviously on the federal level, it is difficult to ignore. But from our standpoint right now, we know it's corrupt. We know it's rigged. We know it's a boys' club, and they're going to put their friends where they want them, where they can get the most juice, where they can get the most kickbacks. We're seeing it happen. Look at the Kristi Noem situation. Look at all of that. Lest we ignore giant fake breasts on the internet with porn stars, But hey, the Democrats are the problem. The independents are the problem. It's always someone else that is the problem. Why can we not take accountability for bad policies, for bad choices in leadership, for bad appropriations of funding? People make mistakes. On that level, the expectation is it's not going to be happening as often. But I think that if the true priority was fair elections, perhaps we wouldn't be having MMA fights on the lawn. We wouldn't be having extravagant parties. I don't know, maybe we would home in our focus on solving that problem a lot sooner than now. I mean, and the thing is we can, say it's all because he's upset because he didn't win. And sure, I'm sure that is. Nobody likes losing. However, corrupt practices in our country's elections, that's never not been a thing. That's always been an issue of dead names on ballots. People complain every single year. And what do we see happen outside of extreme circumstances where people are The burn bags. That was a new one for me. It was kind of hard not to laugh. That whole circle of whatever that was. And as, he was going on and speaking, I was downloading these documents and I was sitting there actively like reading. And there is some very interesting from what I was able to quickly skim, and I'm going to look forward to going back to it later because it's a lot, major zip files, but I'm so sick of this victim mentality in politics when you took so many steps to get into this position. And I have seen Republicans not supporting their own, turning tail on them as soon as accountability comes into action. Why are we so focused on these files right now when we still don't even know the extent of the Epstein files? Like, why is this so important now? Are elections rigged? Sure. Yeah. Are people cheating? Yeah, I see it happening all the time right here around Hampton Roads. I'm sure all of y'all can ascertain as to what happens behind closed doors. I've seen it happen to Democrats too. It's happening to all of us. If you want to be a normal person running for office, the cards are stacked against you and they have it that way. It is to discourage you because they don't want normal, everyday people in there. They want people they can control, they want people they can fund, and they are planting people. Not just in the Democratic Party, but also in the Republican Party. And you know what I want to know is if it's not team by team collusion, then who is it? Because if everyone wants to cry and say they're spies within the party, then who is it? Is it APAC? Who's trying to pull the wool over our eyes? Who is running America right now? There you go. There's my brief answer.
I think if we took a look into what he was saying about how this stems from beginning in 2020. Well, a lot of his lawsuits started after that. They started in the end of 2020 and going past 2021. So my thought process is, well, number one, he had nothing then to show that there was any kind of fraud in the election. There was absolutely nothing of substance behind those allegations at all whatsoever. All of those lawsuits went away because there was nothing there. And I think this is an effort to rewrite history, not just for the fact that he claims continuously that, oh, the 2020 election was rigged. Now you can't even look at an appointee and ask them from a confirmation hearing in the Senate who won the 2020 election. They don't answer the question. So I'm thinking that a lot of this is to rewrite history, number one, but number two, it's also to change the course of history so that he can retain and remain in power. It's all about power and control. I agree with y'all.
Erica, as a side note, when you said that people are afraid to speak, like, I'm not asking you to dime anyone out, of course, because we want to protect our friends, our family, our community. But in that retaliation, because that is what they're fearful of, I'm sure. What is it that you believe that they are truly fearful of? Is it people coming after their families, their employment, their reputation? Could you be specific? Because I think a lot of listeners would really like to know about our shared experiences in this because, we're not all seasoned influencers. We're not all seasoned politicians. We are just very normal people within our communities that have knowledge and experience wanting to make change, right? So can you just share with the community right now why people who are elected, why aides who have been put into these positions that are getting paid off of our tax dollars, why are they scared to tell the truth, the facts?
Yeah, so I will say that what I was talking about just there was appointees before the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
And so it could be a number of things. It could be that they are afraid for themselves or their family. It could be that, there is a job. And so I don't know exactly their own motivations for not telling the truth, not speaking out about, what is fact.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also true that they will receive the ire of a certain person if they go against what the narrative is. But then I can also talk about what I'm seeing here in the district. And yeah, I mean, there are some people that are afraid to tell the truth, I'm sure. And there are also some people that are like, yeah, this is happening. All this backroom bullshit that we talk about, it's real. And I don't care what they do to me. I'm going to tell my story. So I think it's a lot of things. And I think it really depends on the person.
I want you to join in a little bit there, Cherokee, because it's been a minute since you have spoken. If you co-sign with all of that.
Yeah, so I think that people, the idea, this archaic idea, in my opinion, of R versus D, of red versus blue, I think that a lot of people are so taken by it because, you know, that's something that has been ingrained into us since we were very small, from our early days in elementary school. And I feel like it follows you all the way through college. It follows you, you know, when you start talking to someone about politics, what's the first thing that they ask you?
Which
Who did
party
you
you
vote?
are?
Yeah, who did you vote for, or what party are you? And I have always refused to belong to any party. I have always, my mother raised me to be very independent with my thinking. I was homeschooled since I was 13, and she made me write papers on the the party politics and the identity politics. And when you look at it from a psychological and even anthropological perspective, like if you take it out of this like political social context that we're in right now, right, and you look at it from a lens that, if you step back from it, this is the first time in modern history that we've had two parties. That's it. In almost every single society, in almost every single democracy, etc., and even right now, presently, throughout the rest of the world, there are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, in Germany, I don't even remember how many there are. You know, and people become so used to existing within this confine of this two-party system that they even whenever you start talking about it, it's rare that there's a person who says, oh, you know, well, you know, we got to do something, then we have to change something. You know, we this infighting that's happening, this Republican versus Democrat, is part of the big plan, and people are so blinded by it that they don't see that this is the big plan, is to keep us all distracted from the fact that we have kids who are being tortured, psychologically tortured in prisons right now. You know, we have children who, and I'm going to repeat it, we have children who are being psychologically tortured in prisons right now in the United States of America. And we're worried about an election that happened in 2020. Like, frankly, I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. You know, personally, I don't care. And I would say that to the president. I would say that to anyone else who would ask me. It doesn't concern me. I think it doesn't concern anybody else in the United States. You want to know what does concern me? The fact that we have children who are being psychologically tortured by the United States government inside of prisons right now. We have people who are being murdered on our fucking streets. And oh, 2020 election, and oh my gosh, and it was stolen. Who gives a crap?
Distraction.
We have people who are choosing. I have people who are my future constituents who are choosing between food and electricity right now. And oh, the 2020 elections. I have people who cannot afford medication right now. Oh, red versus blue versus red versus Democrat versus Republican. It doesn't matter. All of this is a bunch of bullcrap. All of this is a big distraction, and none of this will help the people who are dying on the streets of America right now. And that is a sentence that I never thought that I would ever say, but here we are. So that's where I stand.
Cherokee, I would love to argue the point that, you know, our commander in chief did say that we are in the best economy. America is the hottest country right now. It's the hottest. Literally, it's the heat, the hottest. All of our constituents are beautiful and attractive. I mean, you know, if you're skinny, you don't need to eat. You don't. Like, why
Did you hear
eat?
what RFK said?
What did
RFK said we
RFK
could
say?
eat entrails. Hey, we could just eat entrails. We could
Of
Species
what?
of animals.
As if we need another thing to give us explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking of which, I am going to New York soon, so I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully I don't have a building fall on me like the Wicked Witch of the East, as I'm sure some of my peers would just love.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I do want to shout out
Thank you,
Andrea,
thank you, thank you.
the wife, who says, "OMG, you should see these documents. It's like the Epstein files, all redacted.
Yeah, they're redacted.
20 recipients who may have had not provided any proper documentation at all. So, yeah, they are trying to make a show, I believe.
Well,
Why does it need to be redacted? That's the thing. Whether it's the Epstein files or whether it's these files, like if you want to show the public the truth, then if they have to pull the military classifications, that type of thing, I get it, national security. But I don't know. Let's fall back to the accountability fees. If you want to point fingers, how about we give the American public the proper direction, point them in? Don't redact it. Don't hide it. What are we hiding? Because if you want to hurt the Democrats and they're on there, show us the unredacted form. If the Republican, that's the problem, is they're all probably on it in some way, shape, or form. They're all complicit in some way, or it's their friends. It's somebody. That's the issue. At this point, there aren't even real party lines. That's what I'm saying. It is the idea that we are all supposed to hate each other based off of some perception of loyalty to a party, when at the end of the day, if the party isn't working for y'all, then really what's it there for outside of just being an NFL style sport we're dumping money into?
Well, more than that, it's not even real. It's a social construct that we have built that we could change. And that is what is mind-blowing about all of this, is that because you see how far you're going to get in a conversation with people when you say that. When you say, well, a border is a social construct. Well, a party is a social construct. All of these things are social constructs. Our freaking language, we created it. Like if we can create the language that we have, if we can come up with theory to explain how the universe works, you don't think that we can't come up with a new way to do politics? Like, hello. The problem right now is that we have collectively become so desensitized to what is happening through the constant barrage of advertisements, through the constant barrage of social media, through the constant barrage of any kind of media, to be honest, and from the constant connections. Like, technology is great. I love it. I use it. I call my family all around the world. I call friends all around the world. It's a wonderful thing to have and to utilize. But there's a cost. There's a cost, and we're seeing it with all of our kids. We're seeing it with all, like, millennials. Are you all millennials? Are you?
I am.
Unfortunately.
Okay. And how about you, Haley? Are you a millennial?
I think of age as a social construct, so I'll get back to you on that one.
I love it. Great answer. Yeah, so as a millennial, growing up, we remember what it was like before the rise of the cell phone, before this constant connection, and we remember what it was like.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many of us who are like getting landlines again and getting the crank rotor, because we have lost connection. We have lost community. We have lost that. And everyone asks me, what is the one thing that you would tell people all over the United States? What's the one people that you would tell Virginians on how to fix things? Go into your community, please. Go talk to your neighbors. I know you might not like them. It doesn't matter. Go talk to them anyway, unless they're absolute pricks, of course. But like, go start mutual aid with some group. Find nonprofits in your area. Go onto a search engine. It doesn't have to be Google. Just find your community, find the people that you can lean on. And if you can't find it, then you got to start building it, because we're going to need it. Because what he's doing right now, all of this stuff that he just talked about, this is the backup plan. Okay. To him not doing martial law, right? To him not calling an emergency and not utilizing martial law. because of, let's say, a protest, because of all of the shit they're putting us through. Let's say something happens and New York gets set on fire from all the protesting. Okay. Well, he would obviously use that, right, to try to invoke martial law. But all of this stuff that's happening right now, all of this other stuff is the backup plan, is the way to reduce the amount of people who are going to show up to the polls in any case, because they want to control the elections even more than they already have.
I want to give last thoughts to Miss Erica, and then I'm going to cut the show and invite you guys all sometime soon as well. But last thoughts, Erica, before we close it out for tonight.
Yeah, I want to expound upon something that Cherokee just mentioned. Like, in addition to the fact that we have all of these connections, that we have them at our fingertips. Some people have them, close to their eyeballs with meta glasses or whatever that shit is. We also have the fact that this administration in particular, they're doing all of these things that are so unprecedented, and it's happening day in and day out. And we're exhausted, but yes, we need to build relationships with the people in our community, and we need to be out there listening. We need to be out there listening to know how we can help them.
I agree. So I'm going to mention before we head on out, Erica Kopp running in Virginia's first in the Democratic primary, Cherokee Sampson writing candidate for U.S. Senate here in Virginia, and Haley Dollar, Libertarian candidate in Virginia's third. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight. We'll catch you next time on SchezzWho, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good night.